like to bring the service into meditation, into silence, relax, forget everything that happened before and that's happened after. Let's just be here and now. Just take a deep breath. Feel the God essence throughout your body. In this very moment, right here and now, the day after Christmas Day, we are gathered here to know and to feel all that has happened with our Christmas story, and to share the birth of Christ and our own consciousness. This is the renewal. That's what this season is all about. The Christ consciousness in each one of us, our spiritual essence, the power and the essence that's already within us all the time. I bless all those that are here today, that are present in the sanctuary on Zoom or on Facebook. I bless the media technician, that's Adrian, as our service runs with ease and grace. For the musicians and the vocals, the words that have been picked out for us to share and listen to the loving thoughts and the words and the meanings. And then for Reverend Nash, for she is the vessel that's going to bring us the message today. And that message is revise, uplift, and love. And know that the presence of God is here within you and me and everywhere present. And so it is.
At Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont, we believe in spiritual living. Above all else, it is a philosophy that teaches us how to think and not what to think. We invite everyone to practice this philosophy by living in principle. We believe that God is all there is, and each person's relationship to God is a personal one. Every person, place, and thing, and all the space in between is not only an expression of God, but God itself. All love, peace, and beauty that is God exists within each person right now. Together we are all connected as one. Our faith allows us to apply this philosophy to our lives in every moment of every day. As we live in love, we see love revealed and flowing through the world around us. We act as citizens of this spiritual community at all times. This is how we think. We believe in God, we believe in ourselves, and we believe in you because we believe in spiritual living. We are the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont.
And indeed we are that. Trying it again. Yeah, it's on. Uh-huh. I think I hear me now. So I'll try it again. I'm saying, indeed we are that, Csl Beaumont. You agree? Yeah. Yay, okay, good. So today, gosh darn, it's the last Sunday of 2021. Can you imagine? I can. It's always interesting to look back reflectively and see where we've been. And certainly we have, with faith, to know where we're going is on the upswing. We're on the uphill on so many different levels. I like the selection that was made today for the music, because it's all about revival. It's all about reviving that essence of strength within ourselves that keeps us going, that keeps us hopeful. And without hope, what are we? We don't have a chance. So we revive our hope and we rise up. I love that aspect of rising up, because I think about the just the winter solstice, how it is that everything goes dark and then we start swinging forward to rise up. The sun starts revealing itself a little longer in the day, and there's some energy that happens. And maybe it's the exhaustion after Christmas, but all of a sudden you feel like, you can start breathing again and moving around again. So my focus today is revive, rise up, and live. Because we can't forget about living. We've got to be inspired in order to live. Otherwise, if you're not living, what are we? Something we don't want to look at, something that's irreversible. So to begin today's lesson for Sunday, December 26th, we're going to look at another week-long tradition. We started this month with our wonderful celebration of Advent, the Christian aspect of looking at the 4 Sundays prior to Christmas. And then we moved into Kwanzaa, which began on the same day, and that lasted 4 weeks. So there's this Hanukkah, sorry, thank you, Hanukkah. I'll get to Kwanzaa. Hanukkah. And that, I think December is a time, if I begin to think about it, and I am thinking about it, is that we had Advent, we had Hanukkah, we had the solstice, and now we had Christmas, and now we have Kwanzaa. And in a way, those aspects are rooted in darkness. They're rooted in darkness. So I want us to maybe accept that that's part of the qualities of who we are as humans. We all come from that dark place, that safe, wonderful place that is the womb, that Mary certainly represents, that safety. When we're in this sanctuary, this is our safe space where there is light. And of the various aspects that I just reiterated, that's all about moving into the light, moving into the new year. It's a new beginning. So let us never doubt that we're lost in darkness. We're never lost in a circumstance that we cannot find our way out. Because if we think about December being the 12th month of the year, it's impacting and holding on to such resurrection that it is a lighting up of a new beginning as we move into January. As we move through our own personal situations, there's light within that aspect, that divine light that is within each one of us. So let us begin to just not recognize the troubles and the darkness of our own world, but begin to recognize that through faith, thy faith has made thee whole, that the faith within God, the faith within ourselves, that aliveness of God is ever present right where we are, 24/7, doesn't skip a beat, doesn't go on vacation, doesn't take a night's rest. It's ever present, so we can wake up at any point in time and rise up. We can change our thinking. We can heal our lives, and that's the premise of what Science of Mind philosophy is truly all about. So today, we're going to focus specifically on Kwanzaa and not Hanukkah. I confused myself. However, we are celebrating here in the front. You will see that we have our Hanukkah Menorah. Okay, here I go. Our what is it called now? Menorah. Gosh, too many things rushing through my head. Our beautiful menorah, and then we have our Christmas candles, and we have the gifts, which Betty Ann, boy, I'm on delay here. And then we're going to have our wonderful lighting of our menorah. I said that right, yeah. It's a menorah. It's the way that the candles are being presented, but you're right, it is Kwanzaa. So let me give you a little bit of background of what Kwanzaa is. It's an African-American holiday extending throughout a week-long recognized time of celebration. The festival begins the 26th of December and continues to the 1st of January. Dr. Mahola Karinga introduced the festival in California back in the year 1966 as a celebration of life. Kwanzaa is a celebration of history, culture, family, as community. It's not and community, it is as community, for we are all one. Truly a celebration of life. American-born Dr. Karenga introduced the festival to the United States as a ritual to welcome the first harvest to the home. The holiday has 7 symbols, which Betty Ann has so beautifully displayed for us this morning. And those 7 symbols are fruits, vegetables, and nuts, a straw mat, a candle holder, maize, gifts, a communal cup, and lastly, a candle holder called a canera. The candle holder canera is constructed to hold 7 candles, 3 red, 3 green, and 1 in the center, which is black. Even the name Kwanzaa was made with 7 letters in mind. The extra A was added to the last word in Swahili, a phrase, Mutanda ya Kwanzaa, meaning first fruits. Karenga created this festival for African Americans as a response to the commercialism of Christmas. You may be surprised to learn that the modern holiday of Kwanzaa is a relatively new creation, though it has its roots in traditions that go back generations. It is celebrated mainly in the United States, Canada, and the Caribbean. Despite the fact that it is often thought of as a substitute for Christmas or Hanukkah, Kwanzaa is not a religious holiday, which is an interesting point. And families who celebrate Kwanzaa often celebrate it in addition to Christmas, Hanukkah, or another religious holiday. The number 7 is symbolic in other ways too, according to the Farmer's Almanac, and that was published this upcoming year for 2022 edition. It has interesting points and facts. So in order to translate into the facts, I'm going to introduce a scholar, a person of knowledge, a person who has taught school, a teacher, and she knows an awful lot about the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, and her name is Betty Ann James, who is a vibrant, vital member here at this center. How could we do without her? So I introduce to you Betty James.
Habari Gama, that means what's the news? And each day we say what's the news, and you are to respond by telling me what the principle is. Our first principle for Kwanzaa is, of course, unity. Unity, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, the nation, and our race. Did you want to light the candles, or you want me to do it? So I start with the black candle. Come on. There. The second day of Kwanzaa is self-determination, to create, name, and define our lives for ourselves instead of allowing others to do that. And that's what Science of Mind says. You do it for you, not for everybody else. The third day is collective economics, to build and maintain our stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit them for togetherness. That means we need to start doing things for ourselves. Some of the gifts that you see down here for the symbols were made. One is just an old Christmas ball that I just covered with some fabric. I also have had a ceramic thing from my grandchildren, but you don't have to go to Walmart to get these gifts. You can make your own gifts. That's what that's all about. Yeah, red and then the green. The fourth day is Nia, purpose, to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community. We have done that here at CSL. We're continually building. We're not depending on outside persons to come in and help us to put together our service. Well, sometimes. The next day is creativity, to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. So that means that we do get rid of things. We don't have to keep things all the time. I discovered that I had 4 jackets in my closet, and I'm going like, you can only wear one at a time. Recycle it, get rid of it. And also it helps the environment because it helps someone else stay warm and not laying around on our streets. Our last candle, we kind of got behind.
So you went all for it?
Yeah. Faith, January 1st, is our 7th candle to be lit. And we are to believe in people, our teachers, our leaders, and the virtue and victory of our struggle. And together, we can always pull this together, doing it together, not separately. Thank you. You want to put those out? You want to put them out?
No, I'll watch them.
Okay.
Thank you, Betty Ann. You can tell she probably commanded her students very well in her classes. One of the things that I realized about Kwanzaa and about the lighting of the candles was the first candle that was lit, or the first principle, I should say, umoja, and that means unity, that we help each other. And I thought that's so much in concert with what CSL is all about. It's all about the sense of oneness, the sense that no one can stand alone, but collectively we're a mighty force. So I incorporated the inspirations of Kwanzaa into what our CSL is all about. CSL meaning Center for Spiritual Living. So at each solstice, there's a stillness. In a few days, there's a pause between the dwindling light and the lightning days to follow, or vice versa, in the southern hemisphere. This is a time to sit and be with ourselves right where we are, listening to the still small voice as it speaks, giving ourselves over to the mystery. And that's what we have to do sometimes. It's just to surrender in the midst of our storm, in the midst of our confusion, in the midst of our, what shall I do next, when it is that we feel most lost. And I believe totally, again, reflectively, looking at the month of December and going through these faith orientations, that it has helped me personally to realize everything falls within succession, that I need not push anything, that I need to just get myself out of the way. And whenever it is that someone says, well, that would be true, but, I say, get your butt out of the way. Get your butt out of the way. And what we need to do is just open ourselves more into that continuous flow of what life is. And again, it's that light, and I continue to reference the light, that indwelling presence of the living God that's in us, that is our inspiration, to stop long enough to pay attention, to allow ourselves to hear what it's saying to us. And sometimes just a mere miracle when you're driving down the street and all of a sudden, I think I need to go this way, and you follow, and just ahead of you, if you had gone straight, it would have been an accident, or you would have been involved in an accident. So I'm using that as a very simple premise to say, listen to that inner voice within. Rather than always question, just give yourself the empowerment to trust, to be still, to allow God to speak through you. It speaks to you, but up through you, there's a rise up, a connection of heart and spirit. So, and in the evolutionary, visionary focus of CSL, for Centers for Spiritual Living, there's a timeless wisdom, evolutionary vision that they've been using throughout this year in terms of focusing on the directions of the lessons that are to be provided. And sometimes those lessons will come through pretty rote according to whomever has constructed them for the month or for the week. And then sometimes those messages will speak differently to the speaker, the presenter, to the minister that comes to provide that. So you'll probably hear a little bit today in terms of what you've held or heard prior to, and that's okay. Because it's the repetition of hearing what it is that we need to know in order to know what we know at the time. Because there's always that time when, feet move me. We have to come to that place when sometimes the head and the heart disconnect, and all we can do is rely on our faith. Because our head wants to take us one direction, our heart wants to take us another direction, and yet when we become still, we listen to that voice that speaks to us, that gives us the authority, that gives us permission to just simply rise up out of the storm, to just be whole, complete, and perfect. So CSL's evolutionary vision is a statement from the global vision, which I want to read to you today. We envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. That spiritual guidance, that spiritual wisdom, that spiritual experience does not come out of a box. It comes out of the myriads of individuals who have experienced and shared their story. They have shared their darkness. They have shared the inspiration, that light that has taken them through the darkness. They have reflected their light. And this is why it is that we come together as community, not as one being greater than another, but a collective whole that is bright and light, always aspiring to move further together. That sense of oneness. CSL's timeless wisdom statement gives rise to our lesson today. Revive, rise up, and live. And it goes like this. We believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete freedom from all discord of every nature, and that this good is sure to be attained by all. And I noticed when Evonne was making reference to the call for prayer at the end of today's session, or maybe it was Adrian that addressed it, knowing that if there is an issue resting on your heart that it's troubling you, let it go. Give it up. Give rise to it. This is what it's all about, to be in community, because your business is not about someone else's business. It's about your business, your relationship with that inner God. Give it up. Let it go. And I always say, don't go back and pick it up. Cast it aside, knowing that it is done, and let the power of the divine take care of it. Because you see, in God, there's no right or wrong. It's just always the unfoldment of love, love in action. It is through our discernment of what it is that we feel compelled, our intellectualization that takes us on into a specific journey for a specific reason. And sometimes that outcome isn't always the best that's going to work for you and I, work for the individual. But when we let go, there's something powerful within the power of prayer that just simply knows there is a greater way, and that I can take you there to it, and that I is that God within self. So when we turn to that realization and we let it go, when we let go of our humanness, we let go of our ego selves, we let go of however else you want to construct that. I know better than anybody else. Well, you don't know better than God. So you can let it go. The lesson we share today revives our knowledge of a cultural celebration, also just that it may awaken encouragement, strengthen our courage to rise up, to be, tapping into the deep dive of one's interests, creative wisdom, interests, and abilities. I was reminded of a class that I took when I was in school some years ago, and I won't tell you how many, but when I was in school, and I was awestruck by Stephen Covey, who was an author of many books. He was a motivational leader and trainer. And in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I have held on to this nugget. His theory is an inside-out philosophy which so much cooperates within my orientation of religious science, science of mind. And in Stephen Covey's mind, the inside-out philosophy, meaning that change starts inside each of us and works its way out. He finds a person's character to be a collection of habits that consist of skill, knowledge, and desire. So you may recognize this quote, because I certainly use it a great deal, and it's 5 steps, again, another symbolism. Live, love, learn, laugh, leave a legacy. 5 easy steps to live. We're born, we're alive, we have an inner light. We love because that's all that there is. Love is all that there is. We learn, we grow up, we have wonderful teachers like Betty Ann, but we learn from the time that we're born, we learn how to accept the caretaking of our parents, of our caretakers, whomever that is. And I think about a baby when they're finally able to crawl and they're looking all around and they're just waiting till they're at least a year to 14 months old so they can get on those little tiny feet and take off and just tear up whatever it is that they've been looking at for a long time to figure out what it is. But then we laugh. Look at a person who is unable to laugh at oneself, to laugh at oneself. And you will find someone who is very stuck and rigid within themselves, because that's where life is stuck. It is stuck inside of them. And I use it, and it's not a nice word, but I use the word constipated, that you're constipated in life. Loosen yourself. I won't go any further because I know you got the, but loosen yourself so that when we begin to laugh, then we begin to look at what kind of background am I living for my grandchildren, for my children, for my grandchildren, for my neighbors, for my friends, for my community. What is my legacy? What will I be remembered for? Because when it is that we transition and leave this physical body, all there is memory. What it is about Christmas, what it is about Hanukkah, what it is about Kwanzaa, stories that compile and begin to enrich us so that it brings an awareness to us in the present moment and allowing us, if we will, take in those deeper truths so that we can live more assertively, more aggressively, more truthfully, not for the world, but for the world that lives inside, for a greater yet to be of self. So what is your legacy? What is your legacy? What is it that you, each of us, is to be remembered for? And I think we could probably create a laundry list, excuse me, of things that you enjoy and that you will be enjoyed because you contributed to. And golly day, I can remember as a kid remembering my grandmother's recipe book. Things that, so I don't know if we follow recipe books much anymore, but that was a legacy that got carried on from generation to generation. And I know many of you probably have holdover memories of recipes that grandma, great grandma handed down through the years. So in closing, let us remember the science of mind point of view. And it's this. You are the unique, divine, perfect unrepeatable, unrepeatable way life as God expresses. And as Evonne read earlier, act like it. Celebrate who you are. Know who you are. Find times to be with you alone so that you can resurrect the rich qualities of who you are. I always say, be who you be. Who you be, you're the only be that there is. And know that. You are the unique, divine, perfect, unrepeatable way life God expresses. And essentially, we're called to action to find the perfect balance of dwelling in the past, the future, and the now. Know that you are perfect life in human form. Be free from all discord and consciously make moves today that bless you and blesses your future generations. And it's not just those individuals that come from our bodies, but those generations of individuals whom we walk with, whom we talk with, whom we show up with in the grocery line, in our communities, in our neighborhoods. Wherever it is that you are, there's someone that's going to be a part of your expression, and they're going to take away a part of who you are. That's the living legacy of each one of us. I so appreciate each of you. And I want you to be appreciated. Appreciate yourselves. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. That was how we began December, with Happy Hanukkah. Peace be still within. And the legacy, the history, the story of Hanukkah. Troubled nation, but healing itself into the revelation that it is now today. Looking at the Advent process, looking at the 4 levels of moving into the Christ birth, the birthing that takes place in each one of us every day, but we celebrate in December. But be that Advent, alight that inner candle within self to feel the aliveness of who you are. Revive yourself, lift yourself up, and be the beauty of who you are. God bless you. And then we have Kwanzaa. We have Merry Christmas. I forgot Merry Christmas. The time that we celebrate the culmination of all of what December is all about. And certainly it's all the marketing and the buying and the shopping, and you gotta have this and you gotta have that. But just what you gotta have is that Christ light within. Turn it on, turn it on. And if it's on, turn it up and become ablaze and become on fire within yourself. And then we move into Kwanzaa, the last week of the year. What a time of celebrating the fruits of nature, the gifts of life. Never taking for granted that this evidence of what is real is beyond us, not for us. Because it's talking about unity, it's talking about the wholeness. There's no separation here. There's only oneness. And that is the focus, the light of religious science, that we are one. So we have experienced a mighty birth of self this year in 2021, and we will experience another birthing when we begin January 1st, 2022, and know with utmost conviction that you are here, that you are ready, that you are active, and you have what it takes to make that quality difference in life. Your life, in the livingness of life, remembering life is eternal. It's our livingness. It's that little dash. And I know there's a whole orientation about the dash, and maybe someday some person will come in and speak to you about that in terms of where it is that you begin, your birth began. But we will never know what that final date is. But we can observe those individuals whom we love, our parents, our children, our spouses, whom our friends, whom it is that we have had to deal with that finality of that last year, that last day. But until then, your dash is open. The door is open. Your heart is open. So live. Live with enthusiasm. Live with gentleness, conviction, and realness, authentic realness. Just be who you be. And what a joy that is. And certainly I'm just going to drop into what the quest is here at the center, to have a individual that's going to come and be that spiritual leader with you, not for you, but with you. That individual that's going to come and bring their individualized personality, that's going to wed in with all the other personalities here. And the whole vision forward is to grow and to illumine the greatness of what the divine is truly all about. And together you will make wonderful music together. It will be a harmony like none other, nor should it ever be, because CSLB is unique unto itself. So knowing that that quality of richness that lives and abides within each one of you that I have experienced this month, continue to give it. Never despair. Continue to know that God's got it. God's got you. So whatever that is, there's always a reasoning as to how it is that it's unfolding, because it's all about the collectiveness of bringing in the greater light. So we never let go to give up, but we let go for the greater yet to be. Do you agree with that? Yes. Oh, thank goodness. I'm so happy. And what a joy it has been this past month to celebrate life with you, to be with you. And if ever the time comes and you need somebody to squeeze in there and you can't find anybody else, I'm over the canyon. So give me a jingle. God's blessing and Happy New Year. There goes our Christmas lady. So let's just close our eyes right now. And it says here, Adrienne gives me a script every week, a schedule that says healing prayer. So we're just going to know I'm going to stand here by this Kinara and just know that what it is that I know. And that is that there's only one life happening. That life is God. That life is my life as it lives and breathes through me, that power of authority, that intellect, that wisdom that pours forth through this chamber, a bodysuit, as each one of us directs, guides, lives, breathes, experiences our individual lives. And oh yes, regardless of the qualities that have been mentioned during the month of December, all surrounding and raising the experiences from time beginning, the experiences of mankind rising and growing to become greater still. And knowing that the history that has brought you and I here through our ancestors, that right here and right now is our opportunity to be so culturally aware of the light that abides within each one of us. Singularly different, beautifully collective. For there's one life that each one of us is living. So therefore, that individuality gives us great awareness, gives us authority, gives us permission to move into the awareness that God is, that God shares its joy, its unfolding happiness, its unfolding prosperity, its unfolding greatness of life to be lived through each one of us. So as this December last month of the year, December, comes to a close, and we move into our December 31st Peace Vigil. This is what it is that we know, what it is that we accept, is peace within ourselves, peace within our native country, peace within our neighbors, peace within the neighbor countries, peace within the population of those countries, peace in the world. So as we affirm and claim this ritual of knowing, simply one gem being that of peace, we know that within that peace capsule is love and light, newness, which we revive and light up, so it can rise up to be greater still, a world where everyone exists in a much more unified, respectful manner. So we give light of love to ourselves, to each other, and knowing there is nothing to heal, only God to reveal. And we allow ourselves to move into that place, that interior knowing that God is, that I am, God and I are one. So if you are receiving this message, you are aware of this message, you accept this truth, just simply abide and agree with me, for it seals the commitment within. And so it is. So it is. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for our Sunday service. Please remember to like, comment, and share this video on Facebook, YouTube, and any other social media you are a member of. To donate to CSL Beaumont, you can text GIVE to 951-420-6909, or you can visit our website at cslbeaumont.org and click the donate button at the top or bottom of the page. You can also mail your donation to CSL Beaumont, 802 Maple Avenue, Beaumont, California, 92223. Have a blessed day.